I'm honestly starting to feel bad for Last of Us fans. Naughty Dog really made you have to defend paying $70 for a remake, but then they went ahead and just flat out lied to you about what you were paying for in the first place. In case you missed it, a ton of gameplay from the upcoming Last of Us Part 1 was leaked and the internet was not pleased. See, up to this point, we've been told that The Last of Us Part 1 is this super amazing update to the original game that was rebuilt from the ground up for modern hardware. And there was even that one Naughty Dog developer who said it was the, quote, most meticulously built and crafted project I have ever seen or been a part of in my entire career. Which guaranteed somebody gave him $100 to tweet that. And this dude apparently worked on Resident Evil 7, so that was a very high bar that he decided to set for his own studio for no reason. Well, it turns out it was all a fat stinking lie because the remake is virtually identical to the original in terms of gameplay. So, what does this mean? It means you truly are paying $70 for a graphical update to the original 2013 game. It means the reports about the gameplay being closer to Last of Us 2 were flat out wrong, because Naughty Dog couldn't be fucked to put any effort into hiding the fact that yes, this is a cash grab. $70 for a glorified texture pack that doesn't even include all the content the original game did. Now, I originally wasn't going to talk about any of this. Originally, the video was just going to be me responding to this tweet and some of the ridiculous replies that it provoked, but literally as I was putting everything together and getting ready to record the video, the news came out about the remake's gameplay, and I had to talk about it. It just puts all the stuff we're about to look at into an even more embarrassing light. Naughty Dog truly threw their fanbase under the bus, and I'm starting to think they're not even doing it consciously. Like, they promised gameplay improvements, they promised some big, incredible experience, and they trusted you to carry the message for them and do the justification of the price tag on their behalf. And now it turns out they were just lying to you the whole time. I mean, no company would actually throw their customers in the line of fire the way that Naughty Dog has been doing since the remake was announced. I honestly think it's just incompetence. I don't think they're doing it on purpose. I think saying they're doing it on purpose is giving them too much credit. Funny enough, mere hours after the leaks came out, Sony released a gameplay trailer for the game, basically confirming that yes, it is a $70 texture pack and nothing else. Fantastic ratio, by the way.
Nice execution.
You're doing terrific.
Interesting how they conveniently waited until after the gameplay leaked to release this. Surely they weren't just going to sit on this trailer as long as possible to reveal the reality of the game's gameplay. Of course not, that would be dishonest. And Naughty Dog would never be dishonest with us. The ultimate irony is, after the controversy that came from Last of Us Part 2, a remake of the first game seemed like a slam dunk. As unnecessary as it was, I totally understand what they were trying to do. They wanted to win everyone back in the fastest way possible, and what better way to do that than by taking the game that made them super famous and just updating the gameplay and the graphics to be more modern. As dumb as I think a Last of Us remake was, I totally understand why they greenlit it, especially with how popular the Resident Evil and Demon's Souls remakes have been. I totally understand why they did this. I just wasn't expecting them to fumble the ball so hard. Anyways, I want to pivot back to this tweet, the thing I was originally going to talk about in this video anyways, but I couldn't not talk about the gameplay leaks. Like, this studio is so fucking full of themselves, and they really couldn't be more in your face about it. It's incredible to me that people still think this studio actually gives a shit about what you want from them. They don't care. This tweet from @DoomsdayDave3D, doing the seemingly inevitable no spoilies Twitter thing for Last of Us Part 1. Like, it seems every upcoming movie or game will have some kind of push online with one of the characters to try and keep people from spoiling it, as if that has any fucking effect at all on whether or not people do it. But the reason this tweet is so obnoxious is the fact that The Last of Us Part 1 is 9 years old. I'm sorry, but you're not going to be able to protect yourself from 9-year-old spoilers, and to expect the internet to go along with this is just fucking donkey brains to the highest order. I don't know what's more ridiculous, the fact that Last of Us fanboys actually expect the internet not to spoil a remaster of a 9-year-old game, or the fact that Last of Us fanboys don't think people know how one of the most popular and talked about games of all time ends. Like, either the game is amazing and incredible and everyone has to know about it, or it's a brand new experience that needs to remain spoiler-free 9 years after release. You can't have it both ways. Last Emperor responds, sorry for the bad news, same game, glorified remaster being portrayed as a remake. It is a remake though, stop downgrading hard work of developers, lol. Nice ratio, by the way.
You're doing terrific.
Interesting choice of words there though. Downgrading is a pretty appropriate term for this whole fiasco. I'm not denying that making a game like Last of Us Part 1 is still hard work for a studio to complete, but we're getting really generous with the term remake. Resident Evil 2 from 2019 is a remake. Shadow of the Colossus from 2018 is a remake. What we're getting from The Last of Us Part 1 is somewhere between a remake and a remaster. People aren't downgrading the developer's hard work when they point this out. They're simply expressing annoyance at being expected to pay $70 for it. Lol, please guys don't spoil a overpriced $70 quote remake of a game that's been out for 9 years, and that the leaks have shown that it really isn't worth the $70, especially with the cut multiplayer content. You don't have to buy it, you know. There's that old chestnut. Although I wouldn't really worry too much about that. I feel it in my bones that people are maybe going to take this advice to heart. Are you kidding? Original game came out almost 10 years ago. And remake is done for new players as well. Okay, but you're kind of just proving the opposite point. The remake is done for new players, sure, but The Last of Us wasn't some game like Demon's Souls or Shadow of the Colossus where a full console generation has gone by without giving you an option to play it. This isn't a remake of some game that's been lost to time or some cult classic. The Last of Us has been readily available on every PlayStation console since 2013. The original was on the PS3, there was a remaster literally the following year on the PS4, and that PS4 version has been backwards compatible on the PS5 since that console's launch. Sony has made sure that this game is available on every possible PlayStation console ever since it came out. So the fact that they're, quote, remaking it with no gameplay improvements but still expecting $70 is fucking insulting. You can play this game on PS5 right now for $20. If you wanted to play The Last of Us at any point in the last 9 years, you've had an easy option to do so. For Naughty Dog to treat a remake of this game as some gracious event instead of the blatant cash grab that it is just insulting. There really aren't any completely new Last of Us players. Like, Sony already made sure of that. Just play the original, goddamn, it's nearly constantly on sale. 1. How would that help with spoilers? 2. Why not playing remake? It looks better. Well, that would help with the spoilers by just being the game. Like, playing the game would help with the What? Also, at what point do spoilers just become discussion? Like, when people say Darth Vader is Luke's father, are they spoiling The Empire Strikes Back? Or are they just discussing it? Like, if a movie or video game comes out and it's a big commercial success and it's been out for years and years now, like, you kind of just have to assume that everyone knows the story. That's just the way this works. You don't get to twist the way human discourse works just because you like the fucking Last of Us. Also, maybe if you guys didn't fucking talk it up 24/7 for the last 9 years, people would actually be going into the remake blind. Again, you can't have it both ways. The Last of Us can't be this amazing, incredible thing that gets praised for 9 years straight while also simultaneously never being discussed in public oh, don't spoil it. Like, that's just not how this works. Also, these tweets are suggesting that there are, quote, new fans to the Last of Us franchise who haven't played the first game. You know, suggesting they played the second one, but not the first one. Which, even if that were true, doesn't the second game spoil the first one anyways? Like, doesn't the second game have a bit of a recap of what happened in the first? The first game literally can't be spoiled for you if you've played the second one. Like, what the fuck is your point? And as for the why not play remake thing, a lot of people aren't going to play the remake because essentially paying $70 for better cutscenes when YouTube is totally free is just dumb. Seriously, like, make this stop. The game is 10 years old. What is there to leak and or spoil? No more leaks or spoilers, it hurts our bottom line. Again, it's not spoilers if the thing is 9 years old and constantly in the public eye. It's not a spoiler that Mike and Sully eventually get Boo home. It's not a spoiler that Nemo eventually gets found. Like, if you were going to experience these stories blind, you probably already did. And it's kind of just an accepted rule on the internet that if you don't want stuff to be spoiled for you, you probably shouldn't be hanging out around that stuff's part of the internet. I'm not saying it's impossible for spoilers to be avoided for, you know, a couple decades. Like, I'm sure there's plenty of people who haven't seen fucking Tangled and don't know how that movie ends. Also, Tangled fucking slaps, don't at me. Like, it's legit a top 10 Disney movie. I'm not saying it's impossible to avoid spoilers for the first Last of Us game after all these years. I'm simply pointing out that if you haven't played it, but you also partake in gaming discussions on the internet, like on Twitter, or you watch gaming YouTube videos, you probably already know how The Last of Us ends. If you don't want a game spoiled for you, you don't hang out in that game's community online. And that's why the push for people not to spoil The Last of Us Part 1 is so stupid. The Last of Us Part 1 is a cash grab. Plain and simple, it's never been this blatant. in any game before. And like, no game remake has ever been so blatantly a cash grab before this one. I really hope this thing flops. I truly do. Stuff like this needs to be snuffed out of the industry right away. There is absolutely no reason for $70 remasters to be normalized, especially when they don't even come with all the content from the original game. Something like this is worth $40 maximum in the current year, but Naughty Dog will just keep going on and on about how much work they've put into the character models and the audio instead of the actual fucking gameplay. Good thing that's not a running problem for them, or else they'd be in a real pickle as a studio. Toodles.